Hi everyone, welcome to your 30 on, 30 off HIIT workout. This is a total body class, but we will have a little more of an emphasis on lower body today. For equipment, we are going to use a kettlebell. I'm using a 20-pound kettlebell. Full disclosure, I should have a slightly heavier one for the kettlebell swings, but this is all I have available at my apartment, so I'm going to make do with a 20-pound one. I would suggest using whatever weight you swing and then maybe having a lighter option on hand as well. I'm going to give you 5 exercises. We are going to go through those 5 exercises 4 times using an interval structure of 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest. So in total, it is 20 minutes of HIIT work, but we start class with a thorough guided warm-up where we focus in on mobility and gradually bringing the heart rate up. And then we will also finish with a quick guided cool down. If you love this class, I have more available on Patreon, a couple using dumbbells, and then one that is completely body weight. You can get all the information you need for that at patreon.com/Nicole Pearce. And with all that said, let's jump right into our warm-up. You do not need any equipment for it. So standing with your feet a comfortable shoulders distance apart, we're going to come into a side bend. I want you to reach your arm up overhead, and then I want you to side bend over to the left. So we have this big opening through the side body. Now moving with our breath, we're just going to start rotating. On an exhale, you're going to rotate towards the floor. Blow out through the mouth as the ribs move gently in and down. On an inhale, stay in the side bend, but you're going to find a little opening, gaze slightly up to the ceiling. Exhale down. One last time. Come through the side bend, bring yourself up to standing. Same thing, other side. Left arm reaches up, side bend over to the right. And then we're going to move with our breath. On an exhale, you rotate down. Inhale it up. So this rotation is coming from your mid-spine, not the shoulder. So don't just move your arm down and up. Mid-spine initiates it. One more. Come through your side bend, come up through standing, and we're going to come into a hip hinge. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see me. So hips are going to slide back. I'm just going to bring my hands to heart center. You can have hands on hips, whatever works for you, and hips slide forward. We will be doing kettlebell swings today, so a big emphasis of this warm-up is just to kind of prepare our body for that motion. And body weight is always a good chance to talk about form before we do add the weight of that kettlebell. So notice there is a slight softening of the knees, but the knee bend is not initiating the movement. You break at the hips. Hips go back, but you maintain the shape of your spine. So as you hinge and come upright, nothing is changing about those neutral curves of my spine. Now let's add in a little squat. So you're going to hinge the hips back, then you're going to bend the knees into your squat, drive your feet into the floor, come up to stand. Hinge, squat, stand. Don't worry about getting super deep in the squat. Only go as low as you can without tucking your tailbone under, okay? So again, we're still thinking about maintaining the neutral curves of the spine. Next time you hinge forward, I want you to hold the hinge, reach your arms forward at a diagonal towards the front corner of your mat, and it's just a little bend and press through the knees. Little softening, press, don't completely lock out. Actively opening up through the backs of the legs here. You're going to hold with the knees soft in 4, 3, 2, hold with a little bend to the knees, and we're just going to start tracing arm circles, mobilizing through that shoulder joint. These are big circles, but we don't want to lose the connection to our rib cage. So as the arms open up, we don't flare out through the rib cage, because if we flare out through the rib cage, what's happening to the curves of our back? We're coming out of neutral. We're sinking into that low spine, and we don't want that. Change direction of your circles. Two more. And then I just want you to forward fold. Now in this forward fold, we're going to come into an inchworm just to build off of that opening through the backs of the legs. So I want you to walk your hands out to a plank position. And then just walk your hands back in to that forward fold. You're keeping your legs as straight as possible as you do this, but of course, if you're tight, add a little bend to the knees. Next time you walk out, I want you to just hold your plank, spread out through the fingers, reach the heels back, and then 1 foot at a time, I want you to step the feet in so the knees are right under your hips. You're in a bear plank position. From here, I want you to start to retract and protract the shoulder blades. So the purpose of this retraction and protraction is to activate the serratus muscles. Now, the goal here, we've talked a lot in this warm-up about maintaining the shape of our spine. That's the goal here as well. So as your shoulder blades slide in towards each other and then slide wide, you're not sinking your head down, you're not excessively arching into your back. It is just the scapula sliding across your back. 2 more. Last time. Lift those hips up, walk your hands in towards your feet, and I want you to roll up to standing. We're going to do some standing hip circles before we come into some light cardio. So shifting your weight into the right leg, this left knee is going to lift up, hinge open, step it back, and then just reverse it. A few times like this. So it's like you're stepping up and over something. 1 more this side. Other side. So now just shift weight into your left leg, right knee up, hinge it open, step it back, and reverse it. Opening and closing. 2 more. Last time. And now we're going to come into some cardio to gradually bring the heart rate up. The first movement is preparing our body for those swings. It's a skier swing. So as the hips hinge back, arms go back, and then hips come forward, arms overhead. Add a little speed to it. Now you can stay here with your feet planted firmly, or if you want, try adding in a baby calf raise that is so small. Heels lift slightly as the arms come up. If you do not have the ankle stability to do this, they're rolling out, then I want you to keep the heels on the mat. We're going to take this into jumping jacks in 4, 3, 2, 1, jumping jacks. If you'd rather not jump, you're going to step, step. So think back to the initial hip hinge we did in this warm-up. Remember, the knees bending are not the initiator. It's hip sliding back and forward. Let's take that into account as we go back to those skier swings in 3, 2, 1. Hips slide back, bring them up. Hips are the driver of this movement. Maybe you add that little calf raise. Now, as you come up, make sure you're squeezing the glutes and the abdominals. So you're not coming up and hyperextending into that low back. Back to jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1, jumping jacks. We're going to go through those 2 movements one final time. Back to those skier swings in 4, 3, 2, 1 last time. Hip hinge. Maybe you add in that little heel lift. It's so small. Ground down through the big toe as those heels lift. Maintaining the neutral curves of your spine as you come from the hinge to upright. 3 more. 2, 1. Jumping jacks one final time. We're going to finish up this warm-up with world's greatest stretch, and then we are going into our 20 minutes of HIIT work. You're going to roll down, hands to the mat, walk yourself out to a plank in 4, 3, 2, 1. Nod the chin, roll forward, hands to the mat, walk yourself out into a plank. From here, right foot steps to the outside of the right hand, right arm lifts up, twist it. Right hand back to the mat, step your right foot back, other side, left foot, twist open. Close it. Back to plank, let's pick it up. Right foot, hand, hand, foot, left side. Step it forward, twist it open. Close it, step it back. Last time. Back to plank, left. Hold your plank here. Just breathe. You're here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down. All right, I'm going to show you a preview of our exercises, and then we'll get right into our HIIT work. First up, we have an alternating high pull with a jump squat. So you would pull right, put it on the floor, jump squat. Pull left, put it on the floor, jump squat. To modify that one, take out the jump. So it would be high pull, stand. High pull, stand, just like that. Second exercise, we're going to isolate one side at a time. You're going to be in a split lunge position. From there, it is a row and then a lunge hop. Row, lunge hop. To modify that one, you would take out the hop. You would just give me a pulse instead. So it would be row, pulse, row, pulse. Just like that. Third exercise, we continue to isolate that same front leg. It is a standing side bend to a back lunge. And just to show you from the front, since I will be facing the side when we actually get to it so that I have enough room, standing up tall, you would give me a side bend, come up tall, and then the leg of the side of the weight steps back into your back lunge, come back to the top. From there, we go into kettlebell swings. You are ready for that. We've done a bunch of that hinging motion in the warm-up. To modify that though, if you're newer to swings, it's not working out for you, then I want you to just do a weighted hinge. So you would hold that weight at your chest and you would just focus on that hip hinge back and forward for me. Make sure you master that movement before you go to the swings. Final exercise, we're really just using the kettlebell as a prop, and you don't even have to have it on the mat. If there's any risk of you tripping over it, just move it out to side. We're in a bear plank position and we're just going to hop those feet up and over, side to side, jumping over that kettlebell. To modify, instead of jumping, you would just step. So just step side, side, tapping one foot and then the next, trying to keep those knees at a hover. All right, we're going to go through those 5 exercises, 4 times total. Interval structure is 30 on, 30 off. Let's go. Okay, we're going to start with that alternating high pull with the jump squat. So the weight is equidistant between your feet. You're going to get low by hinging back through the hips. Chest stays open and lifted. And we'll start with the high pull. Go slow your first few reps, okay? We're just now adding weight. Don't rush it, okay? It's all about form. You're gonna drive through the legs. High pull with control, lower it. Squat jump, other side. So it should take you longer to return the weight to the floor than it did to pull it up to the top, okay? So think power to the top, control on the way down. Keep the weight close to your body. 30 seconds to rest. All right, so next up, we have that split lunge position, and it's going to be the row with the lunge hop. We're going to isolate our right leg. Well, I shouldn't say isolate, but that we're going to have the right leg forward in the split lunge position, and the left hand will have your weight. All right, in your split lunge position, square your hips and level them. Big hinge forward with the torso. Row, lunge hop. So that row is initiated by the retraction of your shoulder blade. We did that in the warm-up. Retract elbow lifts. Rest. So now we have the side bend to the lunge. Right foot is still going to be your stationary side. So we'll have the weight in the left hand. We'll side bend over to the left, and then the left foot will step back. Right foot stays forward into the lunge. So weight in your left hand, right hand can be behind your head or on your hip if that works best for you. Side bend over to the left. Exhale to bring your torso upright. Left foot steps back. Come to stand. Right foot stays planted. Drive through that right foot to come back up out of your lunge. rest. All right, kettlebell swings coming up next. And again, kettlebell swings aren't working for you. I want you to do that weighted hinge instead. You would have the weight at your chest and you just focus on sliding the hips back and forward. To initiate a kettlebell swing, start with it at the bottom in front of you. And you're gonna start by swinging it back, then you're gonna come up. Brought across those collarbones, just like with that high pull. Back, forward. So it is the hips hinging back and forward that create the movement. Can you maintain the neutral shape of your spine throughout the hinge? So when you come to the top, you need to engage through your abdominals so you don't hyperextend into the back. As you come to the top, think glute squeeze, abdominal wall braces. So you're not pulling with the arms. And rest. Okay, final exercise. That kettlebell is just a prop. If you think you're gonna trip over it though, just ditch it, okay? It's gonna be down on the floor. We're gonna be in a bear plank position, hopping our feet from one side to the next. All right, spread out through those fingers. Bring both feet to one side. And let's go. If you need to modify, just step instead of hop. Whew, my quads are talking to me on this one. Rest. All right, first time through the circuit complete. 3 more times to go. High pull, jump squat combo coming up. And you're thinking explosive to the top, control to the bottom. Let's go. Rest. Our 2 lunge exercises are coming up next. This time the left foot will be forward. So left foot forward, right hand will grab the weight. Square your hips, level your hips. Big hinge forward with the torso. Row. Little lunge hop. So remember in the warm-up how we talked about doing that retraction without changing the shape of your spine. So I want you to notice when you row, are you jutting your neck forward? I catch myself doing that a lot. Instead, I want you to think, maintain those neutral curves when you do the row. Rest. Side bend to back lunge coming up. This exercise is kind of your one to let your heart rate come down a little bit. It's not quite as quick. Left foot's going to stay stationary. Right hand has your weight. Side bend to the right, and then right foot will step back. Neutral pelvis when you do the side bend. I don't want you sinking into your low back. Left foot stays planted, right foot steps back. Drive it to the top. All right, kettlebell swings coming up next. And again, your starting position is weight in front of you, hips down and back, brought across those collarbones, and you start it by swinging it back, then the hips drive you to the top. Okay, let's get into position. Let's go. Swing it back, forward. So, the style of kettlebell swing I'm doing, the bell is just coming to chest height. I know in CrossFit and some other modalities, you bring the weight all the way over your head. That's not the style we're doing today. If you're trained in that style and you can safely do it, be my guest. And rest. Weight comes down to the mat. We're going to be in that bear plank position. We'll hop the feet up and over that kettlebell. Again, if you're tripping over it, just get it out of the way. Jump over something invisible. Let's go. Whoop. Keep it up. Whoop. Rest. Okay, we're at the halfway point. I'm just going to continue going 30 on, 30 off if you need a little longer to recover. Now that we're at the midway point though, hit pause on the video. Maybe take a minute or two as needed. Okay, high pull, jump squat. Or regular squat if you're modifying. Let's go. Remember, you're getting low enough to grab the weight by getting low through the legs, not by rounding forward through the upper body. That's so important for proper form. Oh, rest. All right, 2 lunge moves. Right foot will be forward. Left hand will grab the weight. We'll start with that row lunge hop. Split lunge position, right foot is forward. Both knees are bent. Hinge forward with the torso. Maintain that strong neutral. The row is initiated from your back. Retract, then the elbow lifts. So these are very mindful movements. Think about what you're doing. Don't rush through it. Rest. Standing side bend to back lunge coming up. Right foot will still be forward when we come into the lunge. All right, left hand has your weight. Neutral starting stance. Unlock your knees for me. Side bend to the left. Exhale, bring yourself to the top. Left foot steps back into your lunge. Right foot stays planted. So really think of dragging yourself to the top out of that side bend using your right side obliques. They draw in and down. Rest. All right, swings coming up. Now, one thing I personally am working on with swings is when I come to the top, I tend to have this forward neck position. So this interval, I'm gonna really focus on keeping my neck at neutral just as much as the rest of my spine. You may not need to work on that, but for anyone else who has a forward head position, why don't we think about that this time around with the swings? Start by swinging it back at the bottom. Come up tall and neutral. And rest safely, bring it down to the mat. Whew. Okay, bear plank position. Feet hop up and over, up and over. Let's do it. Spread out through your fingers. Push the mat away so you have a really stable shoulder cage. Let's go. Oh, rest. Whew. All right, just one time left to go through the circuit, and then we're done. These 30 on, 30 off workouts are quick. Well, the HIIT part is quick. I like to include the long warm-up so that you get in some mobility work along with the HIIT training, because mobility is so important and it's often neglected. All right, last time through, we got this. High pull, jump squat. Let's go. Control it on the way down. Again, the initial power of this is coming from your legs, driving the hips forward. All right, it's not initiated by pulling up with the arm. Rest. Left foot will be forward in our split lunge. Right hand will grab the weight. Row, lunge, hop. Whew. All right, let's go. Left foot forward, right foot back, square those hips, big hinge. So I want you to exhale on the row so that you stay connected to your abdominals. That's especially helpful if you find yourself sinking into the low back. Oh, rest. My legs, they're talking to me. Side bend to that back lunge up next. This is kind of the nice exercise, a little slower. Right hand will have the weight. Left foot will stay planted. All right, side bend over to the right. Exhale, drag yourself up to the top. Right foot steps back. Inhale over. Exhale to the top. I know as you get out of breath, it's harder to sync up the breath with the movement. But if you can, I at least want the exhale to happen when you come out of that side bend. Rest. All right, 2 work intervals to go. Kettlebell swings coming up. If they're not working for you, you feel like you're not doing it quite right, hold the weight at your chest. Give me those weighted hinges, okay? That's the basis of this anyway. So perfect that before making it more dynamic. All right, let's get low. Weight is in front of you for your starting position. Swing it back, drive through the hips to the top. Rest. With control, put that weight on the ground. Oh. Final 30 seconds of work coming up. All right, spread out through those fingers. Press the mat away, unlock your elbows, okay? There's a little micro bend to them, just a little softness. You don't want to lock out through the elbow joint. Almost there, keep it up. Right to the end. Oh, and done. Oh, awesome work. I'm going to bring you through a quick guided cool down. Move that weight out of the way. Whew. Take a few seconds to just catch your breath and let that heart rate come down. Whew. When you're ready, walk yourself out into a child's pose. Untuck the toes, butt back to your heels. Oh, shut off my timer. And in this child's pose position, I want you to walk your hands over to the right. You can kind of lean into that outer left hip. Nice big opening through that left side body. I especially feel it like through my armpit area. And let's take it over to the other side. Walk your hands to the left. Lean into that outer right hip. Big stretch through the side body. Walking your hands back through center. Let's come to tabletop. I want you to tuck your toes under and lift your hips up into a downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels. But then when you're ready, I just want you to sink into it. Press your heels towards the mat. Press your hands into the mat so we get this opening through the chest and the backs of the legs. A few breaths here. Now we'll be coming into a half pigeon up next. If you know that's a little too intense for your hips, you can opt to do a figure 4 stretch laying on your back instead. All right, I want you to take your right leg, lift it up to the ceiling, roll open through the hip, bend the knee. Straighten the leg, square off the hips, and now start to shift forward into your half pigeon. Right knee behind right ankle, wrist. And then walk your back left foot back behind you and come down. Depending on your body, it might feel good to put a pillow or a block under this hip. Notice where you're feeling a lot of tension and try to direct your breath there. Stay here as long as feels good, but if you're ready to move on, you're going to press back up to straight arms. We're gonna come back through downward facing dog, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So now your left leg lifts up, open up through the hips, bend the knee. You'll straighten the leg, square the hips, and then we'll come forward into our half pigeon. Left knee behind left wrist, kick the ankle behind your right wrist, walk that back leg behind you, and we'll come down into our half pigeon with options to pad that hip. When you're ready, we're going to come to straight arms. Once you lift yourself up into a plank position, and then just walk your knees in, drop them on the mat, come up to kneeling, and we're going to take a quad stretch. I want you to step your right foot forward. Only do this if it feels okay for your back knee. You might do a standing quad stretch instead if it doesn't feel okay. You'll bend that back knee. Opposite hand is going to grab the foot. It's just a gentle tug in towards your seat, trying to maintain pretty neutral pelvis. Without slingshotting, you're going to release that back foot, and we're just going to switch sides. Left foot steps forward, square the hips, gentle squeeze of the seat so that our pelvis stays fairly neutral. And then again, if it feels okay, bend that back knee, opposite hand's gonna grab it. With control, you'll release that back foot, and let's just come to a comfortable seated position to finish up. I'm gonna sit cross-legged. Let's just do a little fluid side bend. So I want you to tense your right fingertips. Left arm sweeps up and over, and then just switch over to the other side. So just a little freedom of movement here. Just let everything go. A couple more. Last time. Come through center, and let's finish with 2 deep breaths. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, release. Last time, inhale up. And exhale, release. Awesome job. That is your class. If you liked it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new workouts here every Monday, plus additional workouts are available over on Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon member, there's no commitment. You can cancel anytime. All the info you need is at patreon.com/Nicole Pearce. Link is below in this video description. All right, I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next week.